Is that us three, is it?
Hey, all right, there you go. Scouse is introducing himself. Oh, yeah, I got to press this button. So hang on a minute. As usual, we're off to a fabulous start.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy Podcast, a Washington football podcast by fans for fans. With your hosts, Jessy Martin.
You want to play what? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.
John Taylor.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
And Keith Gray.
The King, your Majesty.
And now here's your host, John Taylor.
Hey, you know what? I'm John Taman, and how's everybody doing out there in podcast land? I got to tell you, we work really hard to make this show seem like the unkempt mess that it actually is. We do. All right. It's I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit to let you all know that, yeah, I mean, really, every one of us really want to just do as a perfect a show as possible every single time with no curse words and perfect little segues and all that stuff like that. But the inherent artists within us say, no, we must create on the fly. And with that said, there's everybody's favorite fly. It is our friend Scotty. So in England, are you known as Mr. Fly?
Lord of the Flies, I'll have you know, John.
Okay, well, see, over here in America, we have a completely different person who's called Lord of the Flies, and he's not something that you really want to be associated with. Anyway, also from the 1 Point Safety Show, our other guest here, Scouse Andy. How you doing, Andy Lockhart? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Paul. Thanks for having me on. Finally, took a long time, took you long enough.
Well, you know, we got to make sure the interpreter can come in on it so that people can understand.
Yeah. Where is he? Where's the sign guy? Where is he?
I could do that. I wish I could.
I look like Justin with his spotty bag. So yeah, maybe Mr. Tumbles is here.
Mr. Tumbles.
After the show, Google Mr. Tumbles, John. Yeah, he's a children's entertainer for the handicapped and the deaf and disabled.
Really?
So that's why you need me on. Yeah. Because obviously no one understands Scouts.
Right. I tell you what, I'm going to tell you a really bad joke.
You don't understand me?
Anybody who's listening that's deaf, turn off your podcast right now. All right, what did one deaf guy say to the other one? What did one deaf guy say to the other one?
Fucked up.
All right, yeah. Speaking of fucked up, my friend Jessy Martin up there in the top corner. Oh, over there. How you doing? Hey, this is ridiculous. How you doing, Jessy?
I can't complain. Actually, I can't complain, but no one would.
A family coming to town.
Yeah.
I'd be complaining.
Not only that, I hurt my back at work this week, and it's just
really?
it's just been a fucking shitty week.
Just banging those women, mate. Just banging those women at work. That's what it is.
Say, old Sally's got to slide that orange vest to the side. All right. So, you know what? As usual, once you start talking to anybody on a camera like work or you guys or anything like that, my dog needs to come in or go out or one or the other. But right now, he's going to get his ass kicked because I'm tired of listening to his shit. So go ahead, talk.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So big week in Washington Commanders land. Some things happening. OTAs, second phase is getting ramped up. Everybody's fucking freaking out because Chase Young isn't there. It's par for the course for this fan base. We overreact. That's the whole fucking thing about it is we fucking overreact about every goddamn thing. I bet if Ron Rivera got a fucking hangnail, everybody would overreact about that. It's just what this.
He just came off of cancer. You don't know what a hangnail could do to him.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Well, that is a big topic to start with right there. So let's do that.
Let's do that.
Scotty, tell me what you think about Chase Young not being at camp or at OTAs.
Just talked about it,
voluntary OTAs.
I understand it's voluntary completely, and he's done this for the last 2 years where he's done his own thing off the field. I would have liked to have seen him there, being honest, because I think this year, more than anything, going into that contract year, Daron Payne showed the way to say, F you, if you're not doing your fifth-year option, I'll show you what I need to do. He's a captain, has that C on his chest, and obviously he wants the money. So go out there and show us that you are the number 2 overall pick and that you are this generational talent that you're there. Because Lord knows he needs the snaps because he's been there. He's been off, injured for so long. So for me, yeah, interesting one. Am I bothered particularly about him missing this week? No. If he's there for training camp, great. but in the long run, we need to see better from Chase. And I think showing that example to the rookies, you know what I mean, and saying, I'm here, I'm a captain, helps. Interestingly enough, actually, we had a quote here from John Allen on this, saying that expectations just lead to disappointment. And at the end of the day, only Chase knows what he's doing. So clearly that's a message to him saying, other captains are here. Fucking sort your life out. Do you know what I mean? Because honestly, me and Scouse were talking about this before, and I was saying to Scouse, is he actually a bust? Do we have to openly admit it now and say, come on, are you a bust?
Too early on that. Scouse, what did you think? What did you have to say about that?
I think he's acting like a bust because he should be there. Do you know what I mean? Like as I say, if John Allen's there and all the other captains are there and Terry was there and everybody else, you've got to be there yourself. Do you know what I mean? You are one of the C's for a reason, and I think.
But he's not anymore. He's not a captain anymore. He hasn't been a captain since
the last time he was camp.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know he skipped.
They vote every single year for a captain, and once he got injured the following year, right.
Well, either way,
go ahead and finish
flip that. Then he should be thinking, I should be extra motivated to actually produce here, to come back and become a captain again. So either way. I think he should be there. I know it's voluntary, but he should be there. Even if he doesn't participate, as long as he's there with the guys, etc. I think that's what he should be doing.
All right, Jesse, tell them why they're wrong.
Yeah, the thing about it is he was there for phase one. I think that's most important. Yeah. He has been in the building. He has been in contact with Rivera. And Rivera this year, he does not seem nearly as perturbed as he did 2 years ago. If y'all remember, he was kind of irritated that Chase wasn't there. Now, look, if he had that C on his chest, if y'all recall how upset I was when he did not show up year before last, I was furious. I was fucking furious. He was
throwing shit all around that blurry background.
A newly minted captain, young captain, come in here and at least be there for your guys. This year, I don't care. I don't care that he's not there. As long as he comes in when it counts. See, I think it looks a lot worse than it is because there's only 3 people in the whole entire team that's not there.
Go ahead, finish.
And the fact of the matter is, this is voluntary. Okay, I've heard a lot of interviews from scouts and GMs that this part of it of camp and OTAs. If you're learning something new, that's a little bit different. I took a step back this year because I was wondering how I was going to feel if certain people were going to show up. But both him and Montez, they both have a lot to play for. They're not here. And the thing about it is they're still in contact with Ron. They don't need to learn a new defense. What has irritated me a little bit more is Leno being gone. That irritates me more than
you mentioned that
Chase and Montez being gone, to be honest with you.
Well, we'll get to him. Let me tell you about Chase, because I'm going to disagree with you and agree with our British friend here. I think it's important for him to be here. And I think the primary reason for him is because, all right, I'm pretty doggone sure. I'm like 98% sure, which is about as sure as I get, that on Keim's podcast, Keim, who reports facts, said that was one of the factors that went into them not picking up his option, is that Ron Rivera didn't like it when he didn't show up to OTAs that time. Granted, they're voluntary. But look, if your boss didn't like that, well, then maybe you should show up this time, right? I get that he's, whatever he did last year, he was injured. But this year, he doesn't maybe have to learn a new defense. But you know what? The last time we saw him, he played kind of pedestrian at left defensive end. So maybe he can show up and learn how to handle some of these chips that Ron Rivera was trying to blame. Remember? Oh, he's getting chipped by the running back. Okay, well, so chip his ass in OTAs. Let's see what happens. Throw those little stupid robot pillows at him that you guys use now for practice and see what happens. I think it's a bad look. I get it that it's voluntary and all that sort of thing like that. But in this particular situation, especially given that, I think it's a, hey, man, my dick is bigger than yours move. Or it can be
if you think about this, listen, I wish he was there. I'm sure everybody on the whole team wishes he was there. Mm-hmm. It is his choice. Is it a good look? No, it's not. It's not. But I'm not going to get bent out of shape as I did before, because I don't think as much as riding on a couple of days of
Right. No, I think it's about optics.
It is. And that's the thing about it. This bad
Which sucks because I always bitch about optics. I think it's stupid.
It's not a good look.
Right.
It's definitely not a good look. I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Well, it's 3 against 4, we win. Or 3 against 1, we win.
So then, just
quick maths.
Right. So you brought up Charles Leno.
Scott was trying to say something, but he was cutting out. What were you saying, Scott?
Don't worry. Exactly the same point that John was making, because John's obviously on the same wavelength as we are. Scouse was making a point before, and he was furious about Charles Leno, and obviously you've said the same thing. You were pissed off that Charles Leno's not there. Now,
I'm more pissed off than he's. I'm not necessarily like.
He needs to learn the new offense, man. He should be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know,
especially when he's got a new quarterback behind him back there, man. Learn where your man steps. Learn where he goes.
That's why I'm upset, is because of the new quarterback. But the fact of the matter is, he knows this offense. He's run this offense. He was in this offense for 5 years. He
found out how every defensive end could get past him in it last year.
No, I'm not talking about last year's offense. Totally different than this year's offense. He grew up in the offense that Eric Bieniemy is coaching. But the fact of the matter is, you have a new motherfucking quarterback behind there. That's what kind of gets me, it rubs me the wrong way. Is Leno, for all intents and purposes, is the leader on that offensive line, should be out there. Facing the music and helping his young quarterback out.
Right. You don't see freaking Secret Service agents skipping OTAs because they don't feel like protecting the president today. Right? You get out there and dive in front of the bullet. That's our guy back there. You got to at least protect him.
I mean, do you think he's going to be he's going to be caught? Do you think like it's a thing like, oh, well, why should I show up then if I'm thinking about maybe I might be caught, and that's why he's not shown.
Yeah, you had that cryptic tweet, didn't you, from his wife? She
says that every year. You know, he's got to spend time with his
kids. He's in great shape, and I'm in great shape myself. Can't let him down and all this, you know. Yeah. And so why is he showing up? You know.
Again, he was there for first phase a couple weeks ago. He's lives near the stadium. He's I don't think it's in the long run. A couple practices isn't going to make much of a difference for a veteran like Leno. But it's the fact of the matter is, there's a new fucking quarterback behind there.
Well, there's also
has he played in this offense before?
Yeah. He came in the Chicago Bears when he played for the Bears. Okay. This is the same offense that Matt Nagy ran when he was drafted to the Chicago Bears. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, they can tell me it's the same, but nothing's ever the same. All right. Especially when another guy is handling something else. I was about to say when another guy's handling another guy's junk, but that didn't sound quite right.
You old apple.
The fact of the matter is, Eric Bieniemy said on the field, we only got a short effing time to learn how to do this. Right. And I think that's the big key. What said, Jared, Jesse, he may know the offense, but he doesn't know Sam Howell. All right. He doesn't know how to block for him yet. And if he does, that's pretty remarkable, because usually the third string quarterback isn't getting many reps in practice during the course of the season. So I just think that he should be there and at least get the feel of being able to tell Sam Howell, okay, all right, look, here's the back of my jersey. Keep it in your sight because you don't want to be on the other end of it. Right. So.
I mean, maybe Jen's ovulating and they need a,
Well, she's watching the show. How do you feel, Jen?
Maybe they're trying to, have another baby. It's that time, trying to keep.
Well, if you're going schedule. Now's the time, I guess you should, because no, you should wait a couple of weeks because that could put it around Super Bowl time, and we don't want that. Just in case, you got to think of the team. So wait another month. In June, there's nothing to do. All right. In June,
boy.
So let's move to Montez Sweat now and him not being here.
Yeah, Jen, go call Montez Sweat. See what
I think that having Montez not here kind of irritates me even more than Chase as well. I mean, I don't think. And not making excuses for Chase, but I think we've all come to realize Chase Young's going to do what Chase Young does, and I don't think no matter if he's here next year or whatever team, I would expect it to be the same way no matter where he's at. as long as Chase is here when he's supposed to be here, and he has been so far, he's in keeping in touch, and it seems like the relationship that him and Ron and him and Jack have had, it has seemed kind of rocky at first, but I just don't think that's necessarily the case. I just think Chase Young's that's the type of person he is. Hey, if I don't got to be there, I'm not going to fucking be there. Same thing with Stephon Diggs. Fucking Lamar Jackson's not a goddamn voluntary.
Stephon Diggs won playoff games.
You know,
Stephon Diggs has won playoff games with plays that he has made at the end of playoff games that he did by himself. So Stephon Diggs can sit down. Stephon Diggs has been there to the big bright lights and lost to the Chiefs. But
the fact of the matter, it's voluntary.
It is voluntary. And I would guess. See, the other thing of it is that Chase Young is one of the knocks last year about how long it took him to come back was that they were kind of worried about his mental condition, and they didn't think he was mentally tough enough. He didn't come back fast enough from it. He wouldn't trust it fast enough. They kind of thought that he was being for lack of a better word, a big fat pussy. So I don't know whether that should factor into what they're thinking or whether that's worrying him at all. I would hope that he is not still worried about playing on that knee because, man, dude, I know, I get it. He's still, I think, right now can trade on his name. And if we're not picking up his fifth-year option, he's playing for everybody in the league this year. So he's going to try his ass off to ball out because his name will get him seriously fucking paid. If that's the case and he's afraid to play on that knee and he's trepidatious about it, there's a word.
See, I don't think that the short amount that we saw him play last year, I thought he wasn't favoring it. He seemed to go after the ball and quick twitched and I think the mentality factor now that he's already played a few games, coming back from the injury, I think his mental state's going to be fine.
I hope so.
I think it'll be fine.
What do you think, Scouts?
I think mentally he's weak. I mean,
he's called him a pussy. Chase Young.
Yeah, pussy. Yeah, he's a pussy. Sorry, Chase. You act like a pussy, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, this guy just needs to show up, man. He needs to show up and needs to ball out. I mean, I understand he's probably thinking, every player gets pissed off when you don't get the fifth-year option, excised or whatever it is, activated or whatever you want to call it. So I understand he's probably really pissed off. And this is probably like a two fingers up to Ron and all the rest of them saying, well, I'm not going to be unless I have to be. But really, he should be doing it the other way. He should actually be doing it the way Deron Payne did it. Do you know what I mean? And acting like the total professional, ball out, and then you'll get his contract. But what seen so far, that he hasn't shown up and he's not asked. That's what it looks like to me from what I'm seeing. But again, I could be, obviously he might be doing his own thing, whatever, but he should be there with the team personally.
Frankly. All right, Scott, what do you think about the fact that Scouts wore a green shirt and it looks like his head's just floating there in space?
He's got a Washington shirt and he's extremely loud as well. So I don't know what's going on with your mic. You're really loud, dude. But yeah, it's okay. Don't worry.
Me? Cool. I'm loud?
Yeah, you're very loud. Yeah, yes, it's all good. Hello.
Man, it's your fault.
Scouts is going to give us his dulcet tones. For me, Montez Sweat, really don't care. Not bothered at all. I think of the three that's concerns of why he didn't turn up, why they did turn up, he's my least concern because of the way he played last year. I think he's got to just go. So you got Leno, Chase Young, and Sweat having you the three. So for me, Sweat, not interested, don't care. If he turns up to training camp, happy days. That's good for me. I think he's got enough. He knows enough in this defense to be willing to put himself on the line. He did that last year. And he showed us. So,
but Sweat isn't gangbusters either. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
with
he's a better than average defensive end. Is he
Jadeveon Clowney?
Pressure guy, but he doesn't get the sacks often enough. He doesn't really close it out often.
I mean, I think he's a great run stopper, but
there's another factor here. I would like one of them to be in there to teach Leno's eventual replacement because we know. I mean, we've been lucky with him so far.
I don't think he's on the team. I don't think Leno's replacement's on the team, to be honest.
So I mean the guy who's going to be number 2 behind him this year. Our offensive line goes down.
Do you think it's Braden Daniels? Yeah.
No.
What do you think about the fact that they got Sadiq Charles penciled in at right guard or left guard? Excuse me.
For right now, I understand it because he's been in the league long enough. But I think Chris Paul is probably going to take over that spot. Maybe third phase or sometime during training camp.
On the field when you're at practice, there's always an ambulance off to the side just in case, right? Well, they've got a gurney in there that's a custom-made gurney just for Sadiq Charles. He said, "Look, if I'm going to be on this thing often enough, I'm going to be comfortable."
Well, they've also had Braden Daniels playing at guard.
Okay.
Yeah, during
Sure, move him around.
OTAs. So, look, Lucas is the backup left tackle, and that's fine. He's had experience. He's played well at left tackle when he's had to.
He's played good enough.
Yeah. So listen, I think Braden Daniels, I'd like to see him get a shot at guard. To be honest with you, he's athletic, and maybe build off that, and then maybe move him to left tackle or tackle to see how that goes. But right now, he's just too raw to try to stick it in and have him as your number 2.
So I think we signed someone from Pittsburgh as well. Was it Scott? Is it his surname?
Yeah, he ain't going to be on the team. No, he's fucking sad.
Okay. Well, I'm just so at the moment I'm looking at this. It's Cornelius Lucas is 2. Alex Akimbulu is 3rd.
Who the fuck is that?
Alex Akimbulu.
Yeah, no one knows who the fuck he is, man.
And then at right tackle, we've got Wiley, Braden Daniels, Trent Scott, which is the guy I talked about.
Yeah, Trent Scott. Yeah.
And then Jared Jones-Smith, who we just signed from the XFL, St. Louis Battlehawks.
And I guarantee to you this is going to happen. If something happens to Wiley, they're going to kick Cosme back outside at right tackle.
Sure.
The tackle spots are much more important than your guard position. You can stick.
Do you think
we got a million fucking centers, and all 3 of them should be able to play guard.
Don't
all
you
3
think
of them could last past week 5 too? But we see how that.
Hopefully.
Anyway,
do you think it's better though actually having specialist players who play specialist positions? Rather than continue having a tackle. Let's play him in guard for a while, and then maybe put him center if we need to, and pull back to tackle later on. Just play him on position, man. Let him learn.
Cosme, they threw Cosme at right guard, and they felt like they right tackle for the first couple of seasons, and they felt like he
wasn't
might
he a right
be better.
tackle from Texas?
Yeah. He actually was. I think he played left tackle at Texas.
Left tackle.
Okay, yeah, but he played tackle.
So, and a lot of this happens a lot. A lot of college tackles come into the NFL and they're not quite athletic enough, or they don't have quite enough long arms, and they move inside and they're great. They're great guards. The same thing happened with Brandon Sheriff, we took him with the fucking 6th overall pick. You don't take a fucking guard with the 6th overall pick, but you know what?
Yeah, but they've not put him back to tackle, have they? They haven't put him back to tackle, have they?
Because
once you stay guard, you stay guard. You know what I mean?
The first goddamn practice, they said, we made a fucking mistake. Let's kick this motherfucker inside. That's exactly what happened too.
You remember what Jay Gruden said in the press conference? He goes, "I need weapons. They gave me a guard." So.
it was a guard.
A guard. That's right. He gave us a guard. Look, the position flex thing. I'm going to go back again to the old days. Keith is going to turn over his grave as soon as he hears this, because he's on a flight, by the way. He's not here today because he's on a flight out of Rhode Island. And let me tell you something. Keith is the only fucking person in America who flies to Rhode Island. I got to tell you, because honestly, there's only room in Rhode Island for one person and an airport. You can't have, I don't know how they get an airstrip in fucking Rhode Island. Scouts, that little pub down the street from where you live? Rhode Island could fit in there. Anyway.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's the tiniest little place. I don't even know why they call it an island. Probably because you could kick it out to sea if you really wanted to. Anyway, I forgot what I was riffing.
I think
on
too much
Island.
is being made of Ron's obsession with
the position flex. Right. Joe Jacoby played all over the whole line.
Yeah,
he played every position but center. That shit's important when you're talking about an offensive line, because you see the attrition rate. You see the attrition rates. All right. Yeah. It's good to have guys that are flexible on the line and can play in different places, because man, they go down like freaking. They get mowed down. They're up in the front. They get blasted.
Yeah, that's it right there. And you want good quality football players, no matter what. And if they have to, swing inside or move out from linebacker to a safety, play a safety position, and you don't have time to make substitutions, all the better, man. I just think was way too much focus on people's hate. Another thing people hate about Ron is, he just picks players because they can play multiple positions. That's not really how it works, man.
I don't know why that's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, man. Everybody around the fucking league does this, especially when it comes to your interior line positions. That happens.
I agree. All right. So anyway, I'm completely lost as to what the fuck is going on. I do know that, speaking of guys that we need for up front, Armani Rogers is gone for the season.
That's a blow. Right there.
When we start to get into the depth of the line, honestly, at this time of year, I get lost because we have guys like, what'd you say his name was? Alex up.
Right, we got who we Alex Akambulu. He's been with us for a few years now.
Alex Akambulu. Okay, so that's great. He's been with us a few years, but he's been so far down on the depth chart. I don't know who he is.
Yeah. Well, look who we brought up last week, John. Ben Potato.
Potato was here. Right. We talked about Ben Potato. Yeah, at this time of year, I always hate this too because there's so much turnover in the league anymore. Right? There's so much turnover in the league anymore that I spend the first month going, who the fuck was that? Looking at Max. Who the fuck was that? who was wearing that number last year? That ain't him.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Armani Rogers. So we have Logan Thomas, we got John Bates, and we've got Cole Turner in the tight end room. Am I missing anybody?
Yeah, Curtis Hodges, man.
Curtis Hodges.
The coaching staff loved last year, and then he stashed on the practice squad. He got injured as well too.
No, Jesse, you're wrong. He got injured.
Oh yeah,
and moved to the practice squad.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. No, listen. As soon as that news of Armani Rogers coming out, all your fucking people that wanted to draft,
I know,
they all came out in the woodworks, and I'm just sitting there laughing.
And we're talking about you, Mark.
We have a fucking abundance of fucking tight ends. Okay, listen. We can afford to lose another one. It will not hurt us one fucking bit. Like, seriously, because the guys like Cole Turner, Armani Rogers, and Curtis Hodges, they're all kind of the same. Okay. Now, what is going to hurt is if fucking Logan Thomas goes down. Then you're going to have to force these young guys to play a lot of time. And the best thing that could happen is feed them a little bit at a time. And then come mid-season, one of these, either Turner or Hodges comes out and really starts to put it on. But
so
I don't think this. Yes, Armani Rogers was probably my number one behind Logan, but
only because he saw a little action last year.
Yeah, and the little action that he did, he played all right.
He looked good, man. He looked good.
Because he was a converted quarterback just
from Ohio
to tight end during the fucking Senior Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, that was so late as well of a switch. Yeah. The Senior Bowl, you switch positions.
He goes, all right, you know what? Let me go to fucking tight end.
So I was going to say, Scout, do you see now that we might be looking on the waiver wire after June 1st at maybe a tight end, a low-end tight end?
I don't know is the answer to that one. Veteran, maybe, possibly. But if you feel you can get better on the waiver wire than Logan Thomas, because that is the point, isn't it?
You got some Logan big Thomas names out there. Jesse James is out there. Swain is out there. Yeah, but
you got to get a whole posse to bring him.
Yeah, Mercedes Lewis is out there, even though he's like 97 years old. He's still available. There's I forget who it was, but they were reading off some tight ends off the way. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of tight ends, but I just don't see us bringing them in. I don't see us bringing another tight end in. We've still got 4 of them on roster.
Okay, all right. Well, that's interesting enough, right there. All right, so we got a new sheriff in town. Eric Bieniemy's out there, fucking yelling at everybody, which
fucking I kind of like. It
is a breath of fresh air, especially since I
love it.
He's conscientious. He eats the breath mint, so his when he's yelling at people, it's not so bad. But no, seriously, I always keep it in the back of my head. You remember, I didn't want him until we signed him, and okay, now I'm on board.
Yeah, no, you were a hater, John. You were a fucking enemy.
I think I was a reasonable.
hindrance.
I was a reasonable objector. And I still have this voice in the back of my head that says, what is it about him that these teams didn't want? And I'm hoping, because I had heard that out on the field he can rub players the wrong way. He will get in their face, and he'll be a freaking first-class dick, which I think is just fine in sports. And I hope that's not the reason why. Actually, I kind of hope that is the reason why those other teams didn't take him, because that's the reason why. What a bunch of idiots. That's a coach. I like that. You know, I see people when they're talking about, because he's yelling at Sam Howell, you threw it, go chase it down, right? When he threw the interception. Okay. Some people are yelling, well, you don't want him making a tackle. No, but you want him to run. For what? You're going to break his ankle. What the fuck is he out there for? He's a football player. You got to wrap in bubble wrap. Fuck all that, man. He's a freaking 24-year-old kid, right? If he's even that old. Well, is he going to break his ankle running down the field? If he's going to break his ankle running down the field, chasing after an interception that he's not going to make the tackle on, he's going to break his ankle stepping off the curb, going to get to his car, or he's going to break his ankle getting up to juice drink out of the goddamn refrigerator. Something's going to cause him to break his ankle because fucking fate wants him to break his ankle. Everybody, think about it logically.
You know, you make a good point. You make a good point, John. But I also still think there's some. You know, the NFL is still a good old boys club.
Yeah.
And if you know, there's still the minorities are still not where it should be right now.
The hell's that got to do with?
Well, I'm talking about because
you're talking about Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy. And that very well could have something to do with you know,
I would hope
him not getting a job. I mean, it's sad. I mean, it's fucking 2023 already, but still, you know, the NFL is, you know,
yeah,
the minorities are still not, you know, it's not there yet.
See, I tell you what, I don't know anyone want to break into the subject or anything like that, but I would hope that greed is a bigger factor than race, because these guys, man, they got all the money, but they still are chasing more. Right?
If you think about it, you know, some of these guys,
winning is everything. Well, green
it is, but you know, there's still a lot of good good up and coming coordinators, you know, who, sure. You know, they have good interviews as well too. Who knows how Eric Bieniemy interviews? I mean, that's somebody says he has a bad interview.
I can tell you, Jesse, he always talks about himself in the third person. No, I'm not being funny, mate.
Does that rub you the wrong way?
Really?
He does.
Oh my God. Eric Bieniemy says this. Shut up, bro. Just say what you're trying to say without saying your own name again. You know what I mean? You know, honest to God, bro. Honest to God, it does my head. No wonder if you're there for like 2 hours with an interview, and then I'll be like, "Oh my God, bro, fucking shut up."
That's Eric Bieniemy.
Fucking do my head anyway. He would do my head in, bro.
Jesus Christ, how stupid would you have to? That's Dan Snyder level stupidity. Look, he keeps talking about him. So I don't know who the fuck. Who the hell
fucking winds me up, bro.
Jesus Christ.
You know when you had coach talking, Eric Bieniemy says this, Eric Bieniemy does that. No,
listen,
bro, no.
When we're in week one, I am going to refer myself into third person the whole entire time.
No, don't do that to me, man. No, don't do that to me, man. I will not be hanging out with you. That's the case, man.
Every time I refer to myself in the third person is when I'm trying to be somebody else to the first person I'm looking at. You know, I'm trying to see what's over there. I
fucking wild, man. Honestly.
All right. So we like this with Eric Bieniemy showing some fire out there, right? We do.
Absolutely.
We like this.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's all the shit I got written down. So now
I got loads, mate. I got loads.
You know,
go ahead. Yeah, please.
I got 2 pages.
It's also a breath of fresh air. You know that the assistant head coach title is not just a throwaway title. It's really Ron has given him the reins to make the practice plans, to make the schedules.
Why not?
And you know, he's given him the opportunity to get more experience. You know, probably a lot more than what Andy Reid gave Bieniemy in Cincinnati. I mean, not Cincinnati, but Kansas City. So you know, Eric Bieniemy's got a lot of responsibility, not just, you know, the play caller and installing offense. He's doing a lot of stuff.
I saw good news about Fedarian Mathis.
Yeah.
At OTA, pushing people around, getting out there and getting after it. That's good. He seems to be confident about his knee. That's good, because I'm telling you, I was excited when we picked him. If you remember, I said we now lead the league in Fedarians. And once he went down, that took away our edge. So I'm glad that he's back. We now are league leaders.
I've been hearing really good things about this defense, especially the back, and especially the youngsters and Martin and Forbes, that they're really picking it up back there, and you got a veteran that they're playing ahead of, both of them, and Kendall Fuller is basically running with the second and third team right now, so. That it's going to be very interesting, and they're flying around. They're making plays. I think this defense is going to be really good. You expect good defenses to take a step back the following year. I don't think this is going to happen this year.
This defense needs to keep stepping forward because they were way back 2 years ago from where they should have been.
Well, they were top five. They were top 5 in 20.
Jackson, everything changed.
Well, so I expect us to be top 10. I expect us, if we can have a top 5. If we can have a top 5 defense and a top 17 offense, we're going to go to the playoffs.
Just look at the quarterbacks we're playing though. This is a different level compared to last season. It really is, man.
I don't give a shit. I don't care about the quarterbacks. I don't care about the quarterbacks play.
I don't either.
This team is not going to pussyfoot around. John Allen's not going to fucking, take no shit. Him and Deron Payne are going to. They don't care who's fucking quarterbacks under center. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
I will tell you this,
D tackle though, and think to yourself at the D tackle. We've got now the depth there with Mathis, with Ridgeway.
Yeah,
Ridgeway's not there. Ridgeway's been hurt. He's playing. He's nursing an injury.
Still recovering from that pec injury, but he's going to be ready for training camp. I mean, we got a deep defensive line, really deep. If Chase can screw his head on right, and Montez, if he can actually get to the quarterback, dude.
Just to let you know, the chime that we heard just a minute ago was to indicate that we have now said the word pussy on this show more than we ever said on any other single show. So congratulations, gentlemen. That's really good. We did quite well with that. And back to the regularly scheduled conversation.
Right. Well, what do we think about the US? What do we think about the US Patent and Trademark Office denying the trademark?
This happens all the time. This is it's normal process. You have that idiot Macaulay that probably thought of every single thing that you could possibly think of, put patents on. And then the other thing that's Washington Community, that's the Air Force and Air Force and Navy
Air Force and Army,
this
Army game.
This happens often. They'll work it out and they'll get it done. It's read the whole article and not just the headline.
Yeah,
the article goes into depth and this happens more times than not when applying for a trademark.
My level of giving shit on this is all of about 1.
What I did find interesting was Matthew Paris had a tweet saying that they'd accepted and filed a trademark on the 23rd of May for the Washington football team.
Well, yeah, that one was just approved. That tells you how long this process actually fucking takes,
and how much the court
like from previous.
Was
that like now?
Sure.
No, that's.
I thought that was a brand new trade that they put through.
I don't think that. I think you're reading that one wrong.
I think that's coincidental, and Scott may be right.
Yeah, it said that.
I think we're going back to the football team, boys.
No,
we're going back to the football team.
You know what? I don't want to see any kind of more name change because I'm just frankly tired of it, and I found out that I didn't give a shit once they started doing it anyway. So if you have to do it again, for fuck's sake, just make it the burgundy and gold. Nobody can complain about either goddamn one of them, and they won't change the colors because it would be
on Matt Paris's
if we go burgundy and gold.
It was on Matt Paris's Twitter. If you're having a look, Jesse.
Yeah, no, I saw it, and I think if you that was when they filed the old trademark. I mean,
really?
When they needed to do it. It just the patent lawyer. I think he was on Kevin Sheehan's show. It was Kevin Sheehan's show. I think on one of them, he explained it all and how this thing works. There's so many. Patents and trademarks that are filed each day that they are years behind in doing this stuff. So finally,
it's just lazy, bro. It's lazy.
Yeah, it takes 2 to 4 years to get something.
Yeah,
to get something actually trademarked.
What happened 40 years ago, the government went, internet? No, they ain't going to do nothing. And now they don't know what the fuck to do. They're behind everything in every single way. As soon as they figure out one thing, hey, this ain't right. Let's stop people from doing that. Click. And the criminals go, we've already gotten past that. As soon as you push the button to stop it. So, yeah, you know. I really don't care. I really couldn't give a fuck whether we're called the commander. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, mate. What do you think about the proposal for this 110-acre site at Poplar Point, just across from Nats Park?
I think
load of horse shit, or just
if they can get the EPA shit worked out, and if they can't get RFK, then that's probably the second best choice right there.
Is it next to? Is it Anacosta Park? Is that what it's called?
I guess so.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Right next to there.
The river. Yeah, the Anacostia River.
I will say this. You know, come September and October when they have, or I mean October if they're lucky, but September, October some. When the Nationals and the fucking Commanders play on the same day, that place won't be crowded at all, will it? With those big giant traffic circles that they have down there.
Well, I mean, fucking no one goes unless the Nationals are winning. No one goes to their games.
Either way, man, there's already a zillion people down there. I kind of like the site down near the National Harbor, but then again, I couldn't care less. I go to one game a year, and that's about it.
One thing that people just got to realize when they're talking about traffic, there's going to be traffic no matter what.
Everywhere.
The worst place ever to go to a game is Foxborough. That is, if you think FedEx Field is bad, try 40 times worse.
40 times. I thought it was 36 times.
Yeah, well, maybe
rounding up.
But they find ways to pack that stadium each and every fucking Sunday.
They threaten them. Bill Belichick, all right, in his genius way, tells them all, listen, I've got poison in the water wells, and unless you people come to the game this weekend, bring your goddamn kids. I'm going to make sure every goddamn one of them drinks lemonade that's tainted with arsenic.
Did y'all see the article where Snyder had some plans to build an underground tunnel from?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
to get away from the stadium.
The Tesla tunnel, wasn't it? Is what they called
the Tesla tunnel for him
that.
and his rich billionaires to get to and from the game or some shit.
You know what?
Yeah.
Pretty soon, I would say within 10 years, there's about a 40% chance that Dan Snyder's going to buy a fucking volcano somewhere and build a goddamn secret goddamn missile that's going to destroy the moon unless you all give me $1 trillion. He's going to do some stupid shit like that. A fucking tunnel to get out of this stadium. This helicopter's just not working. I got to get out of the stadium a better way. What the fuck?
So with the only other couple of bits of news I've got here was at the owners' meeting was a damn squib, if ever I've seen one. Drunk Jim came on. There is the best.
Like Jim Irsay just kind of poo-pooed I just know there's some things that gotta be worked out, and it's like, dude, just fucking shut up. Just sign the fucking deal.
Yeah, like his lines of coke. That's what he needs to be kind of sorting out. Yeah.
Big Jim himself. Hello, Jim.
Hey, let me tell you something, boys. Let me tell you, we had the owners meet. We had the owners meeting last week. We had all the owners. We met last week, and you know what? Everything that we talked about made about as much sense as what I just said. There's still some things we got to work out. They've got those.
Have you got any lines?
Have I got any lines? I don't know. I'm talking to that Colombian guy that's with the Commanders group there.
Perfect.
If I can get a connect with him, boy, let me tell you something. There's going to be lines for everybody. Woo!
Then you got Jerry Jones coming on. It's like, we're
Colombian's finest, baby. Colombian's finest.
Jerry felt like the deal was almost done, but you got old Jimbo over here saying, well, not so fast there, buddy.
Let me tell you something there. Jerry's always jumping the gun, Let me tell you, he is the first guy to leave. He's the first guy out of the door at the fucking owners meeting orgy. First one done. Every time. All right. Listen, Jerry, those blue pills have
a 4-hour window. You can't take him first thing in the morning. He gets so excited. So, he's always thinking that everything's closer to being everything's. Oh, fuck it. Jerry's a dick, and I don't like him. He's always trying to push me around, And that's what you got to say there, Jerry. As long as I have questions and nobody can understand them, then we're gonna keep this shit right here until I can get my camera time talking about Dan Snyder, that little prick. Jimmy out.
It's Jim's hiccup that gets me every time.
It's like fucking just finish the shit already. I'm tired of fucking. I'm tired of this shit. It's like fucking sign the goddamn deal. Y'all are going to approve it. It's not like you fucking want Dan Snyder here for another fucking season. Like seriously,
that's it. They got to make sure that there's no dirt that's on these guys that can be smeared off onto them.
Mm.
Jesus Christ! Did that guy sell me that prostitute or not? Was that him? I can't tell. It was dark.
Did you all like Brian Davis's meltdown?
That guy is a joker, bro. Absolute joker.
Honestly,
from $500 billion, and he dropped it 99%.
It was the billion. Yeah. I'm sure he meant to go for 500 million, and someone went, "Oh, I had the noughts on."
And then he gave Bank of America a check from a dude that's dead that he used to work for the CIA, and he stole a bunch of fucking gold, and dude is dead, and he's trying to pass it off on his fucking first fucking.
Yeah,
are you serious?
He's dead, but they came to me and they said, "Look, man, he was a prince in Nigeria, and if I give him this number, they would put the money in my account, man. He'll be there any minute."
I thought it was white people's money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
White people's money.
This shit was a setup from the fucking get go, and that's why they
got his name out there.
This shit.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. How much is this going to cost?
I don't know.
Right? But how much publicity did he get out of it? It's all $1.
Yeah, fucking.
So what else we got, Scott? Since I'm really,
we didn't really talk about Sam Howell. Yeah.
Did we talk about Sam Howell?
We didn't talk about Sam Howell. Looking really good, Sam Howell.
Yeah, no, from the reports, our buddy Zach Selby, basically saying that, hey, he's throwing good balls. They're not hitting the dirt like they were last year with Heineke and Wentz, and he's thrown to the right spots, and he's taking coaching well, and from what I hear from not only him but others that are there, like JP Finley, John Kimes, he looks a lot better than the quarterbacks we've had here in the past. So, and he looks better than Brissett, even though Brissett looks like a little bit more, veteranish, I guess, for lack of a better term. But Sam's looking better than Brissett. So that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, I think the wording that John Kime used on his podcast, I've got it written down here, was quite funny. It said that Brissett is running with the twos and he's feeling his way into the offense, which is an interesting way of putting. He's looking pretty near bang average. What was really interesting?
Well, Brissett is bang average. That's what he plays like. He is bang average.
George Carney,
bang average would be a lot better than what we've had.
True.
Yeah. Not better than Howell, bro. Not better than Howell.
Nah.
Well, no.
But George,
he's here to back him up and to give him the experience that he got with Brady,
John.
And all the other stops that he went in between.
I think it's a good mix of
and we've seen he can play if he's called upon.
Now I want to know if Scouse and Scott has booked their Super Bowl tickets yet.
You clearly listened to our show before.
Where is it?
Oh, jeez. I mean, honestly, I can't go past 9 wins. Really, is where I'm looking at on our record. Burrows obviously was like 15-0 or whatever it was at one stage. I was just like, where are you going with this? And I think we've got to be realistic. You had us at 10 wins, didn't you, Scouts? I think in the end.
I can see 10 wins.
I can see 10 wins.
Sure,
it's hard.
When we do our season prediction show.
Yeah. In August.
I started 10 wins, and we go from there. Fuck it, it's May. Look, people are afraid.
17
Sam
now.
Howell might be chasing down an interception. He can't break his ankle. God damn it! Well, so you know what? Fucking Aaron Rodgers strained his calf. Right? He's oh my god, ouch, ouch. I'm out. Everybody complains and says,
Be a bit like Joey Sly, won't it? Be a bit like Joey Sly when he ran after somebody and pulled his hamstring.
I
Joey
don't
Sly got in
see.
a fight. Did you see that? Joey Sly got in a fight in a bar. Some girl said he stepped on her shoe and smacked him, and he said, "Hey, get away from me."
I don't see Aaron Rodgers finishing the season healthy in New York.
Wow.
What is he going to get? Blood?
Bold.
No, he's going to get
It's New
hurt.
York.
And I think it's going to come crashing down. I think all this Jets hype is going to hit a
This
wall.
is the Jets, though, man. I tell you what, we've seen this movie before. We have seen this movie before. He's going to get hurt, and then he's going to cut. He's not going to say it like Brett Favre. I'm going to retire, and then I'll retire again. I'll retire again. Let me see if I can retire one more time here. He's going to say it kind of like he does, and he's going to say like, I'm going to retire, just go off somewhere and be with myself and some mushrooms, and then he'll come back with the Vikings and he'll throw an interception against the Saints and he'll retire again. We've seen this movie before. So I don't know. You know what? The quarterback movement this year was very slim. There's people that are out there on Twitter that constantly, every time they're like a little bot group, man. As soon as you bring up Sam Howell and you say, hey, he made a nice throw. What the hell's the matter with you? Why is this team not even trying for the quarterback? It's like, you know what? What do you want him to do? Go after Derek fucking Carr?
I think
Yes,
what we've seen.
did, yes.
what we've seen from Hal is what you want as a fan of this team.
As a young quarterback, too. Yeah. You don't want the ball hitting the ground. You want the balls out in front of the receivers. I put up a piece from Mike Martz, who, if you remember, he was the Rams coordinator of the greatest show on turf. And he ended up as a head coach who really probably could have used a bra on the sidelines. I don't know if you ever noticed. He got the man tits working pretty badly. So, he sat down with a telestrator the other day and propped his tits out there on the desktop and talked about Sam Howell for a little while. It was very positive. And the things he was right on about, which was the things that I've been talking about. The ball it's out in front. It's out on time, for one, and it's out in front where they can make yards after catch. Even when Taylor Heineke would throw the ball on time, how many times you see that Terry's got to fucking fall down and fall backwards to make a sliding catch of a 5-yard fucking pass, right? Where you see Logan Thomas has to jump 9 miles into the air to miss on 3rd down and 8. So I do like seeing positive news. I don't think that there's any kind of propaganda going on. I think that people read too much into that kind of shit they're just going to tell you the good stuff. Well, dude, what do you think this is?
Well, we've one thing we know, we've had fans out there. Fans were there before media was allowed to be there, and fans were putting out new stuff too. And for people that are there, they're they've been impressed, and I mean, it's not like he's completing 100% of his passes, but he's got a good complement of receivers to work with, and they're not doing a ton of 11-on-11 work right now. A lot of it's 4-on-4 and 7-on-7. But as of right now, so far so good. Keep your fingers crossed.
I mean, do you think that's normal though? Do you think that's normal though for an actual starting quarterback? You think that Hal should be a starting quarterback that under no pressure? I should be able to produce these throws under no pressure.
I think what we've seen so far, going back to last preseason, he should get every opportunity to be the starting quarterback.
No, I see what you're asking, and I'd say that. Yeah, I say this in the NFL. I don't care how bad the quarterback is, with Nathan Peterman excluded. All right. If you give them enough time, they'll pick apart a defense. All right, it's a high level position. And Sam Howell, I don't think is any different in that regard, because I don't think that many quarterbacks are different in that regard. You give them time, and they'll find the receivers. The game is designed that way. So when there's no pressure on him, he should be completing his passes. Whether it's normal or not, I would say probably so at the I don't want to say the higher levels, because I don't want to put him in that category. But it's nice to see him not putting the ball on the ground. Nice to see the balls out in front. That's the main thing. Yeah, pressure or not. If he's on the run and he puts the ball out in front, especially if he's running to his left and he throws it back to the right, that's a difficult throw.
This is going back to Haskins. How many times did we see JB Finley or John Keim, pull out? Oh, he had quite a few from Haskins to Wentz to Heineke that balls were being thrown in the dirt. You have not heard one fucking pass of a ball.
One thing was George Carmi, and I think it is George. Shout out to George. He put a video on, and it was Carson Wentz last year throwing passes, and they were hitting the dirt. They were overthrown. And then it said, "Here's Sam Howell." Every single one of them, boom, boom, boom. I mean, he had 3 drops, 3 incompletions on day 2, total 3, and all of them were drops by the receiver. Nothing. Now, I know he's not playing against anybody. There's no real defense there. It's OTAs. I get that. But at least to have a little bit of excitement. Do you know what I mean? There's something going on here.
Hey, I'm in on Howell. I'm just saying. I'm just saying I expect him to be able to throw it under no pressure. Do you see what I mean? If you're thinking that he's a starting quarterback in an NFL, and that's why I think he is. I think he's an above-average starter in my eyes. That's what I think his ceiling actually is. So for me, I expect him to produce that already, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I expect, because that's how good I think he is. So.
All right, I got this. Anunnaki, the shiny ones, has a question. And based on the graphic that he's got there and the name, I'm going to read it the way he would have us read it. Fellas, I have a question. Is EB going to employ a fullback in his offense? In my opinion, if Ron wrote a power run game, it would help tremendously. Not to mention pass pro help. And if so, is it Alex Arma?
Let me take this real quick. The thing about it with the running game, and you just think back to the West Coast offense and also in Kansas City Chiefs, you really don't see a lot of fullbacks deployed.
No.
But you'll be damn sure that this will be a run first offense. They want to protect Sam at all costs. And how do you do that? That's with a running game. Now you go back to see what we have as a running back core. No, we don't. Well, I think we do have.
We don't have a traditional fullback.
I think there's one that's like was on the practice.
Yeah, that is Alex Arma. But he is a traditional fullback, Alex Arma.
But the thing about it is, we have running backs that are good in pass protection. I mean, Brian Robinson is good. Gibson is really, really good in pass protection. And you got the big spark plug Chris Rodriguez. He's a freaking
has he lost any weight?
I think that was that might have been a little
bullshit.
That was a little
overblown.
225.
I think he's coming in at now.
He looked bad though. He looked bad in his first few days. He did look bad, sluggish. Yeah.
He's just a big dude.
But I think he could be a fullback.
Backs look a lot slimmer. Look at Chris.
So I guess the question I would have that comes off of what Anunnaki said is, all right, is Eric Bieniemy going to run Andy Reid's offense as Andy Reid ran his offense? Are there going to be any wrinkles like a fullback, a traditional fullback? Because most of the time, Andy Reid's offenses that we've seen in Kansas City and going back to Philadelphia are faster scat backs, pass catching backs, guys that can get through the fucking holes quick and make a lot of speed. But a traditional fullback lead blocker, I've seen it coming back somewhat in the NFL. I wouldn't be against it. So I don't know. And Bieniemy is a former running back. So he might really want to try to do something like that to bring some of that back to the league or bring it back to this offense.
I mean, there's an option. I just don't think they're going to spoil or waste a spot on a fullback when this offense is like you said. Yeah, like this offense is predicated on speed. I mean, they have been working a lot on screens during the OTAs. Sure. I mean, they've been doing like a shit ton of screens from what I've heard. And that's just an extension of the running game right there. So
I have an impression for you. This is my impression of John Bostic watching them work on screen with a pair of binoculars from across the road. What the fuck are they doing? What the hell is that? They're throwing it to the running back way over there. What the hell for?
We talked about I was
breaks his ankle.
Man, go get the quarterback. Go get the quarterback.
I was on Andy's show the other night, on the bunker.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, a lot of talk is about, these are dynamic receivers. And I said, listen, Eric Bieniemy is a former running back. If you think that this is going to be a pass first offense, you're nuts. This running game is going to be good. And we got the players to do it.
He was teammates with Michael Westbrook, I think.
I'm only thinking, who's the only team really that runs a fullback? Is it Juszczyk at San Francisco?
I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah, Niners.
Bears do.
Niners, yeah.
Yeah, the Niners.
It is Juszczyk, isn't it? Yeah,
it's not like it used to be. You don't have two backs in I formation, T formation.
No,
when you see a fullback
Ravens
coming
do. The Ravens do as well. The Ravens.
Oh yeah, Ravens have got a fullback. Yeah.
See, for me, I think Rodriguez is the guy for it. I think you're going to play him part-time running back, part-time fullback. I think that's how he's going to play him. Personally, that's what I think and get rid of Armor.
If he's 225, 230, why not, man? Get in the hole. If you're going to run a fullback, you better make it so that he's possibly a threat as well. That's the thing about Juszczyk over there in San Francisco, is because they will throw it to him. They'll throw it to him out of the back. You don't just know that when he's coming in, they're slamming it.
That's one thing about Rodriguez. He does not have great hands.
Well, unless you're handing him a quarter pounder with cheese, apparently.
100% catch rate.
There you go. Don't forget the ketchup. So, all right. Well, I'm here at the behest of you guys at the moment because I'm all out of topics and shit. I think that this is the time.
Last thing I've got
I'm not that addicted.
Last thing I've got here is injury update. Was Jamin Davis had a minor cleanup procedure on his knee. Not a big thing, but it's going to be he's going to be back for training camp.
And people stop talking about getting another linebacker. It's not going to happen.
This team has already.
They
just got one.
This team is not a 3 linebacker fucking team. This is
not. Gardner.
We're
Gardner is not going to make the end.
4-2-5 and 5-1-5 sets. Yeah. That's it.
Right. I'll give you one more impression that I've been working on, and this is Mike Tomlin at OTAs watching Cole Holcomb. He knows there's a tight end out there, right? He knows they're allowed to throw it to him, right?
Oh, Lord.
All right.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, this has been a good time, gentlemen.
It has. I've enjoyed it.
I have enjoyed it as well. From what I understand, Keith is still sitting on the runway at Rhode Island because they're asking Massachusetts for clearance for them to be able to use the state to take off. All right, so I guess we'll be back in 2 weeks. So we're coming on an every 2 week schedule now, and we'll see when that'll be, because today it's Thursday, because tomorrow Jesse's got a bunch of family arriving, and you know what that's like, Scotty.
God, yeah, I remember that last time.
Freaking wagons of hillbillies rolling into town.
Yeehaw!
You're gonna hear banjos up and down the street all night long.
You got a pretty mouth, boy.
Shotguns.
Got a pretty mouth. That's right. All right, and all right, everybody. These are our two friends, Scouse and Scotty. Scotty, of course, part of this show almost all the time, and Scouse, of course, can join whenever he likes. But they are the 1 Point Safety Show, which is a Commanders podcast based in the UK, unless you couldn't tell by listening to them.
Oi.
Oi.
Right.
Oi, Mike.
You're from Liverpool, right? So I think you are, if I'm not mistaken, he is close personal friends with Paul McCartney. So anybody that wants to DM him.
Yeah. Like that, bro. Like that.
Right there, Sir Paul. All right. And of course, last week we found out that Keith thought that the Beatles were the most overrated things on the planet. But at the same time, he eats, dino nuggets. With a fork, for fuck's sake. With a fork. And that's it. That's all I got. How do you eat fucking dino nuggets with a fork? Ketchup on them, too.
True. That's true.
Right.
Disaster, mate.
Right, it's that. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Everybody. Oh, wait. You know what? God damn it. I forget all the time. Jesse, you got to tell me, because I forget. I'm a bad host. So.
There you go.
And now.
When do you guys
so we do need for this
tell the listeners where they can catch your show at?
So yeah, we drop every Thursday, Friday morning into it'll be Thursday evening in the US if you're listening there. We are on Spotify, Apple, any podcast provider. We're also on YouTube. The Twitter handle is at 1PointSafety4. And if you just search 1 Point Safety Show, you will find us there. Our Twitter handles for both me and Scouse are on this pod now, as you can see. And again, thank you for having us on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Such a polite fellow. Such a polite fellow.
I'm looking forward to September now, and we're getting there. OTAs are around. It's coming. September's going to be here soon. All our tickets are booked. All our flights are booked. Our accommodations booked. We're ready to go.
That sounds good to me.
Prostitutes are booked.
I mean,
I'm on the other hand.
Jesse, you got the floor though, bro. You got the floor, Jesse. That's all right, bro.
Jim's hooking us up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be all right. We're gonna go meet that. Have a few nose beers. Yeah.
All right, I'm not going anywhere near any nose beer.
No, I'm not.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't do those things. Anyway, that's all I got for the day. So
that's all we've got.
We'll see you next time on the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Oh, by the way, if you want to, go give us a rating somewhere, wherever you're catching your podcast. Yeah. Please give us a rating. Give us 5 stars. One of the most awesome things you ever want. And tell Jesse you might fuck him, because then he'll be really fucking happy. Right? Screaming longer. Where is Keith? Why am I standing here just on the border of Rhode Island and I can't see him? You know, things like that. All right, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So peace.